comes to exhaust, there's two main things to take into consideration: the configuration of your engine and the drive type. For your V-shaped engines and your flat style engines, flat 4s and flat 6s, you're going to have two exhaust manifolds. That's the portion that I'm showing you right now. The exhaust manifold bolts onto the header. For your inline engines, inline 4s and inline 6s, there are also larger ones, but those are the two most common ones. You'll only have a single exhaust manifold. For each exhaust run leaving a header, you'll have two O2 sensors. One on the header itself before the catalytic converter, and one right after the catalytic converter. For your V-shaped and flat configuration engines, your exhaust is going to come down into what's referred to as an H pipe or a Y pipe or sometimes an X pipe. These style of pipes help with exhaust scavenging. If you want to put test pipes on your car, that'll take the place of your catalytic converter. If you want to put long tube headers on your car, that'll bolt onto your head and go all the way back, taking the spot of your catalytic converter and bolting into your Y or X pipe connection. Your inline style engines will have a single exhaust exit coming out of the manifold, and that'll go to the rear of your vehicle. This particular vehicle has what's called a Y pipe, because each exhaust runs back from the header through the catalytic converter and comes back to this portion where it joins into one singular pipe. After your mid pipe, X pipe, H pipe, or Y pipe, it'll come back to your muffler, and some vehicles have what are called resonators. This just helps with the tone of the exhaust. Knowing which style of exhaust your vehicle has can play a big factor in how much your aftermarket exhaust ends up costing you. Additional materials and the type of material like stainless steel or titanium is going to be your largest price differences. There's a learning curve.